Tonight we delve into a world where silent warriors clash with gender-bending martial artists, where military precision meets chaotic kung fu, the stakes are high, the honor is online, and only one can emerge victorious. Welcome back to another matchup of Who Would Win Masters. I'm Sam Proof on all the socials, and in this episode, representing Hasbro and Geek Entertainment, a silent ninja, master of every known martial art, and the only member of G.I. Joe who would lose a spelling bee competition on purpose. It's Snake Eyes! And representing Show Pro and Mappa, the martial art prodigy, whose biggest challenge isn't their opponent, but checking the Weather Channel before a fight, it's Ranma Saotome! I got through that. You know him from Knowing Is Half the Podcast, and a Double Back Podcast, our guest debater this evening, and my good friend, Robert Clark Chan. Chan, how's it going? Welcome to the first iteration of this show with me on it. How have you been?
Amazing. I've been, well, I was good, and then I heard your pronunciations, and
did I not? I tried.
Well,
I went so close.
Many of the same consonants and or vowels were represented, so that's something, I guess.
You're breaking my dyslexic brain with this one.
I would expect nothing less. I assume that Ray sent you that incorrectly spelled in exactly that way, so you nailed it.
Yep,
you nailed it.
I was phonetically right there. All the phonemes are laid out.
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks. Thanks for asking. I've been ducking and dodging for the longest time, but I guess I'm back in the who would win sphere. Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to pummeling Ray.
All right. Well, let's get into this week's Tale of the Tape. Today's Tale of the Tape is brought to you by the American Deodorant Alliance. Some parts of your body start smelling bad after a pretty short period of time. So next time you go out in public to work, have lunch, or go to a game or a game store. Next time you go out in public to work, have lunch, or go to a game store, especially when you go to a game store, heavily consider wearing deodorant. People will notice when you smell like a sewer. Seriously. Yes, you. There, pull the car over. Deodorant now. Thank you. Okay, today's matchup is a battle of two superstar martial artists who have both been kicking butt for a long time. First, we have Ranma Saotome. Is that close?
You're in the ballpark. It's fine.
Okay. Ranma is a teenage boy who has tons of training in martial arts since childhood. Also, every time Ranma touches cold water, he turns into a girl, and hot water turns him back into a boy. Ranma uses this advantage at times, although the series does revolve around him trying to rid himself of this curse. Ranma was created by Rumiko Takahashi and first appeared in manga in Weekly Shonen Sunday in 1987. On the other side, we have Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is a soldier and ninja. He was created by Hasbro and Larry Hama and first appeared in G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero #1 in 1982. Snake Eyes is a highly skilled warrior who was rendered mute by an accident in battle. Wearing an all-black tactical outfit and wielding a katana and Uzi into battle, Snake Eyes will be there wherever there's trouble. And now, introducing this total stranger that you've never met before nor heard of to be your opponent, he is the co-host of Knowing Is Half the Podcast. You should check it out, Chan. It's great. Wait, it says here that he did, in fact, attend your birthday. Last birthday. It's Ray Stakenas. Ray, what do you make of this battle?
I think it's absolutely hilarious that we get Robert Clark Chan finally on Who Would Win Masters, and what better way for me to get some long deserved retribution than to defeat him with a character from G.I. Joe. Given the first ever time he was on a judge in the initial iteration, he had a layup to give G.I. Joe's Cobra Force a victory over the group of S.H.I.E.L.D. operatives, and he went with S.H.I.E.L.D. against me in a move I assume was pure self-destructive spite. So here's my opportunity to take Snake Eyes, take G.I. Joe and teach Chan a lesson that is like 7 years coming.
I remember that. I remember how far I had to drive to record that. I do not miss those days at all.
Oh, man. Could you imagine having to drive somewhere across Los Angeles to do this? That would be so dumb. The internet exists.
Thank God.
Whew.
Yeah. We had to be in the same place.
Anyway, I am thrilled to be here. I am thrilled. We've been wanting to get Robert Clark Chan on the show for a while, and it was very difficult. It was hard getting him on the show for a variety of reasons. Most notably, he doesn't want to be around me as much as physically possible.
That's the chief reason.
You got to get him
physically possible, as much as digitally possible.
Wow.
Right. I just don't want to do it.
Right.
And yet here we
so
are.
you got to catch him in sort of a low moment when he'll say yes. And he did, and we got him, and he can't take it back now because he's already here.
I can unplug. I can toss that router out the window any moment I want. I retain
like
the power here.
That's just quitter talk. You just completely give up the battle right there before you even hit point number one. I feel it.
No, I am such a low conflict dude. Quitting is my second favorite activity.
I was going to say, that's your default right there.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's been said, though, when the going gets tough, the tough quit.
That was me. Well, I said that.
Yeah, I said, I proper attribution.
I told them to put it on my gravestone, and they got about halfway and then just left. So
it got hard.
I think we're doing pretty good.
Before we lose, Robert, let's get to the rules in under a minute. Here are your rules for Who Would Win Masters in 1 minute. Number 1, there will be 3 timed rounds with counterpoints allowed. Number 2, characters will have no prior knowledge of their opponent and no outside interference will be allowed. Number 3, keep the characters in character. Outliers and crossovers will be given less weight. Number 4, battles can be won by death, knockout, battlefield removal, or incapacitation. And number 5, after the battle, I will give my unofficial opinion as to who wins and why. However, I am just one voice. It will be up to all of you on our social media and our Patreon to make your voices heard as to who won. All right, and those are the rules. In under a minute, it is time for our point number 1. Chan, as our guest, you will start us off. 3 minutes on the clock. Starting now.
All right. Here's what you need to know about Ranma Saotome, one of the great anime characters of all time. He is a martial artist without compare. Beyond compare, without rival. He is the heir to the Tendo school of anything goes martial arts, which originally, the first time I heard it, my first translation of it, was the Tendo school of indiscriminate grappling. And that is the vibe here. We're talking pure chaos. We're talking pure adaptability, learning on the fly, and straight up dirty fighting. I don't know if you recall Sonny Chiba from the Street Fighter series. OG, it's just whatever you got to do. If you have to I'll say it, if you got to grab somebody in the no region and pull, that is what you're going to do. And Ranma Saotome, 16 years old though he may be, knows every dirty trick in the book. But that's just the basic philosophy. If we want to talk physicality, we're going to talk strength. This is a guy who crushes rocks with his bare hands. He breaks ice rinks with his head. He can knock down a telephone pole by kicking a mailbox at it. He is trained. He is trained from the earliest age by his father, who is low-key insane and is also a panda. These are all things that factor in, mostly at an aesthetic level. He shatters boulders with one punch. This is borderline Toon Force strength, but I think we also need to factor in that it is scalable. He has as much strength as he needs to defeat the people that he's fighting. Has he picked up a 40-ton boulder before? Yes, to throw it into the mouth of a essentially Midgard serpent style giant dragon. we're not fighting giant dragons. We're fighting Snake Eyes, a little dude with a sword, maybe a couple throwing stars. He's got the strength.
30 seconds
Punches
remaining.
through walls. He knocks away. He kicks people, and they go flying off into the horizon. You cannot take this kid down. He pulled a shark out of the ocean with just his mouth, like a cat dragging a fish. This is not a guy you want to mess with.
All right, Ray, we're starting off dirty, so 3 minutes on the clock for Snake Eyes to make something clean happen here, starting now.
For the life of me, Robert Clark Chan, despite knowing him for roughly 100 years, he still surprises me. Did I think the first argument out of his mouth today was going to be that Ranma will, quote unquote, go there? Because that was his first argument, that he will do whatever needs to be done. Bravo to you, sir. Bravo to your cat staring at me in your camera. Bravo to all of the above. Look, Snake Eyes is going to win this fight because Snake Eyes is a little bit more savvy. He's a little bit more weathered. He's a little bit more battle tested. He's a master of 12 fighting styles. That'd be karate, kung fu, jujitsu, and a bunch of other ones they just sort of dance around without saying out loud. He is a hand-to-hand combat instructor with G.I. Joe, which basically makes him the Captain America when he is in the Avengers, teaching everybody how to fight. That's what Snake Eyes is with G.I. Joe. Scarlet is too, but so Snake Eyes. We also know, of course, as a member of G.I. Joe, the wonderful fighting force that I will always identify with. He knows all NATO and Warsaw Pact small arms, because if you don't mention that when repping a Joe character, what are you even doing here? He has Arashikage training. Now, that was from a character named Hard Master, who was, believe it or not, a hard master, really taught him how to fight. Now, he did that after he was in part of the military. We'll talk about that in just a second there. Part of this ninja training in the Arashikage clan allows him to do things like dodge bullets, have mystical levels of speed, be a master of self-control, and also be a master swordsman. We talk about his katana and his who takes a katana into like an army battle. Well, Snake Eyes does, and he does very, very well about it. We don't talk enough when we talk about Snake Eyes how rigorously trained he is. This is a guy who, through G.I. Joe, we've seen it. He could fight in the desert. He could fight in the jungle. He could fight in the snow, underwater, absolutely anywhere that war and battle can be found. In fact, he fought in Vietnam. In the comic books, he fought in the Vietnam War. And afterwards, after the war was over, he then left to join the Arashikage clan to learn the mystic arts with his friend Storm Shadow. And we're going to talk a little bit about his gear while I have a few seconds left to go, because he does carry his signature Mikimoto katana. Often he stores it on his back, so he has it ready to pull at any moment's notice. But he also carries a 1911 Colt 45 pistol. Nice. Some Billy D. Williams action on this show. And he also carries an Uzi submachine gun that he's probably best known for. But I've also seen him wield kunai, which he uses to sort of deflect other thrown weapons and such out of the air or distract his opponent, or heck, go for a kill shot even. His kit includes a Kevlar vest, tactical belt, grenades, backpack for gear storage, and he has a wolf, Timber the Wolf, always with him. I think Timber obviously should be a part of this battle, but I'm out of time.
All right, Chan, as our guest, you have 1 minute to counterpoint, starting now.
You gotta be kidding me. You're gonna bring up Hard Master against Ranma? Ranma has consistently taken down someone way more weathered than that. His name is Happosai. He's at least 100 years old, possibly 200, depending on, I believe the current anime has him at around 400 years old, and he's constantly putting him down, despite him being superior physically to him in every single way. He takes down one of his constant rivals is Tatewaki Kuno, who's the head of the fencing club. That means he is coming at him with katanas all day long. He has skills that Snake Eyes can't even dream of, and Ranma whoops him easy peasy, lemon squeezy. 12 fighting styles. Ranma has fighting styles you've never even heard of, my man. Literally.
To be fair, Snake Eyes has fighting styles I've never heard of too, because they won't tell us what they are.
I mean,
there's 12 of them. That's all you need to know.
Ignorance is bliss, I suppose. But yeah, this is a really strong start with more fighting styles than I can name and a lot of dirty tricks and some good weapons. But we'll see where things go after this break. All right, we're going to jump right into point number 2. Chan, 3 minutes on the clock for Ranma, starting now.
All right, let's talk durability. I mentioned Tatewake Kuno before. One of the things he does is this sort of like a 100-hand strike thing where he, jabs so fast that the air pressure from the strikes can destroy stone pillars. And guess who tanks that? That's right, Ranma. He routinely jumps out of 3-story windows, got no problem with that, routinely kicked through walls because, again, the types of people he's fighting are streets ahead of Snake Eyes in terms of strength. He's got endurance. He's able to fight full power for an entire night. There was a time when another rival of his, Ryoga, tried to tire him out for a match the following day by having him go full power all night. Snake Eyes is good, but he is not that good. Ranma can fight through tear gas. He survives being run over by a horse. He can not eat for a week and still be in fighting shape. I don't know if you remember the Buddha poem from Kung Fu Hustle, that mighty chi attack that comes from the air and just basically levels an entire city block. Guess who can survive something like that? The ultimate Shishi Hokodan. That would be Ranma. He can take that and walk away from it. There are grenade type explosions all the time. And anytime Snake Eyes wants to throw one of those off of his bandolier, wants to throw them all, he's not going to be able to do much. It'll slow Ranma down, but it's not going to stop him. Perhaps you've heard of the Yamasen-ken ultimate secret demon god assault bomb. It can destroy a 30-foot stone Buddha. Guess what? Ranma, not unaffected. He gets hurt, but he still gets up and keeps fighting. Snake Eyes does not have that kind of power. Let's talk agility. Snake Eyes is real good. And in the cartoons, I know we're not talking cartoons, it's a little bit pulled back in the comic books. And largely I'm drawing for the manga too. But Ranma has so much more agility than Snake Eyes. He routinely jumps up to 2nd, 3rd-story roofs. If you decide to pull out your Uzi or any of your NATO or small Warsaw Pact small
30
arms,
seconds remaining.
Before Snake Eyes can even blink, we don't know if he can blink behind those things, but we assume behind the visor he's blinking. Ranma is there from 20 feet away. He will be there, and you can't shoot something if the barrel is past the thing that you're trying to shoot at. And then in close combat, he is a master. Again, school of indiscriminate grappling.
All right, Ray, time for your point number 2. 3 minutes on the clock, starting now.
So your argument is that, Ranma can withstand the 100-hand slap from E Honda. I've seen every character in Street Fighter 2 do that, and it only takes up like a quarter of their health. Not really that big a deal. I would say right now that one thing Snake Eyes relies on is something you just talked about. And I knew that topic from you would come up in this battle because that's what I would do. So I want to counter your speed with Snake Eyes' ability to blitz people. It comes up over and over and over again. I'm going to talk a little bit about his superpowers as well, because I think that's important. His most notable fighting skill, the big move that Snake Eyes does that wins him over and over and over again, is his ability to speed blitz people. He uses his speed advantage to overtake stronger enemies before they can even react. Obviously, we've seen this many, many times in the comic books. We've seen him clear entire rooms of Cobra soldiers fairly quickly. Often they would be like about to shoot, doesn't matter. Nobody gets anything off because Snake Eyes takes them all out before they can even know what's going on. We've seen him speed blitz battle android troopers. Those are fighting robots. We've seen him do it against red ninjas and also big time enemies like Major Blood and Destro, who are no slouches in the fighting department, I'll tell you. In fact, there was one moment where there was like a cabin on fire and there were 3 red ninjas, and Duke and Scarlet saw the 3 red ninjas who were standing there with some battle wounds on fire in the cabins. And Duke's like, yo, what, why aren't they moving? And Scarlet's like, oh, they're dead. Snake Eyes was just here and killed them. But they don't know that they're dead yet, so they're just standing there because they don't even know to fall down yet. That's outrageous speed we are talking about. That's what do we call it? The main character, Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star. You're dead. You just don't even know it yet. One time a guy had a gun drawn on him, a soldier. Snake Eyes dropped a knife, rushed him, and took him out before the knife even hit the ground. Snake Eyes and Firefly were together in a room being shot upon by 14 guys. You can count them. He dodged all the bullets just by jumping up out of the way. Commonly in battles with people who are up against him, his enemies will say to each other, I can't believe how fast this guy is. Nobody could be that fast. He's superhuman, I tell you. Something out of a video game. I've seen him take his sword and slap arrows out of the air, seven in one go at one point. Unbelievable. But super power-wise, Snake Eyes really elevates himself higher. He seemingly has super senses. He could hear poison drip off of an arrow at a distance. He could tell that from that far away. He could also sense enemies behind a door multiple times and took him out with a sword through the door before they could trouble him. And not just that, he kind of has spidey senses as well, or the Peter Tingle, if you will. And that allows him to sense when a blow's about to hit him and prevent that from happening.
All right, well, you want to talk about fast? Chan, you've got 60 seconds on the clock with a retort. Your counterpoint starts now.
Please, let me describe to you the Kachu Tenshin Amiguriken, chestnuts roasting on an open fire technique. This is a skill that is designed to increase speed to the point where you can snatch chestnuts off of a roaring fire without hurting your hands. How did Ranma train with that? By snatching piranha out of the water one by one with his hands. Speed is something that Ranma got in spades. Blitzing is a common technique that he uses. Like I said, he'll zoop right up to you nose to nose before you even have a chance to blink. Umisen Ken, Way of the Silent Thief. He, quote, makes himself disappear. Then he hits the opponent's dead angle like he's sneaking in the back door and destroying his opponent from the inside. He uses this technique to rip people's clothes off while they're standing there, not even ready for it. He's got the speed angle on you. And he can...
All right, I don't know if we're going to get to see what Snake Eyes has under his battle gear, but we'll find out when we come back from this break in our point number 3. All right, we've got the speed, we've got the martial arts, we've got some gear. I don't know what else is coming up, but it is time for our point number 3. Chan, 3 minutes on the clock for your third and final point, starting now.
Like I said, the Tendo school of indiscriminate grappling is about adaptation. It's about chaos. It's about creativity. He has a Taskmaster-like ability to replicate any powerful technique he says. Anything that Snake Eyes can do, Ranma can do within 1 or 2 times of seeing it. He copied the Ryusei Hisho midair fighting technique. Not only does he replicate things, but he creates counters on the fly. There was a master calligrapher who had an unbeatable attack, and it only took a couple of times before the Daijin Mohitsu Ken, the Thunder God brush punch, was countered. When someone tried to do the ninja thing of throwing pepper clouds into his face, again, like that tear gas, he immediately came up with the fan the smoke black technique. they were fighting with noodles. And he created the Chinese style rolling noodle attack that ended up tying up his opponents. And I'm waiting for you to bring out the Uzi because you think that he can't handle bullets. But obviously he is training to the point where he can dodge bullets, yes, but the real trick is to get in there before you can pull the trigger. If he can't, he's got a counter to the Great Octopus King's special attack, Barrage of 800 Blows, which he defended with. It's a giant spatula, okay? It's a giant spatula, but if you find any large piece of metal, he can block bullets with that. He has so many different special techniques. There's the Heaven Blast of the Dragon, the Lion Roars projectile, the Flying Air of High Tiger. The Saotome Desperation Strikes, though, the core of the martial arts style, Fox Fu, Feline Fu, Flat Frog Fu, striking an enemy when they're not expecting it. Snake Eyes is good, but Saotome matches him physically in every way and is better at ninja-ing than he is. He is better at deceit than he is. He doesn't need to go there. He's just a dirty trick guy in the way that Hulk Hogan is. Terrible
Seconds remaining.
Things, but you still root for him because he is a good person. He's got the Kawarimi no Jutsu, the body replacement attack, from Naruto, where he can swap his body out with a log. He's got reversals upon reversals. He knows drunken style kung fu. Who wouldn't? He knows bra fu. That's probably not appropriate for this show, but I assure you, devastating. He can mimic voices like Zartan. So, I don't know, maybe Scarlet tries to get his attention. Boom, Snake Eyes goes down.
All right, Ray, it is time for your third and final point. 3 minutes on the clock, starting now.
Look at you pretending you have prior knowledge in this battle when I know full well that you do not. He doesn't know who Scarlet is. And obviously, look, you're going to say that your character, Ranma, is more deceptive than Snake Eyes, lest we forget the Pyramid of Darkness when he dressed like Debbie Gibson and Timber the dog dressed like a possum for some reason with sunglasses and a hat, and they performed a dance number for Cobra soldiers at a checkpoint. I'd like to see Ranma pull that move off. That was in the cartoon. I don't care. I'm going to bring it up because it's awesome. Obviously, Snake Eyes is going to use bullets. He has an Uzi. He has a pistol. He doesn't prefer to use those weapons. And I think in a case like this, he would only use it if he has trouble getting anywhere after a certain period of time. Then he would switch over to the sort of the gun fu John Wick Deadpool style. But I do think he's going to try to match Ranma on proper terms to at least begin this battle. But let's talk about the ninja training, because Snake Eyes has the Arashikage mindset, which is a form of self-hypnotism, which allows him unshakable resolve, and he cannot feel pain or fear, and can shake off brainwashing. Not that I think that's really going to apply in this particular battle, but I have it written down anyway. That means that no matter where they get in this battle, if Ranma starts to shake a little bit or become a little bit unwavering because it's not going well right away, Snake Eyes will have the confidence to see it through. He has other Arashikage mindsets known as the Blind Sword, the Way of the Inner Anvil, the Sleeping Phoenix, and the Ear That Sees. I don't know what any of those do, because a lot of the stuff written here is sort of written to be there, much like the 12 martial arts styles, but they sound great. The Ear That Sees, that sounds like Daredevil, Vision in the dark kind of stuff. Obviously, Snake Eyes defeats hordes of Cobra soldiers, defeated Storm Shadow multiple times. In fact, when he faces hand-to-hand combat, Snake Eyes wins. When there's an ambush or anything, that's when Storm Shadow wins in the comics. Look, he defeated Destro and Zartan despite not being as strong as them. Firefly is actually a ninja in the comics as well, defeated him. Defeated Hardmaster while blindfolded. I'm glad you think that Hardmaster isn't great as a trainer when, Ranma was trained by their dad. Okay, cool, Chan. I also want to bring up Fortnite. In the Fortnite 0 Point comic book series, which is Comic Book Snake Eyes, he was brought to the Fortnite world by the creators to fight who? To fight Batman. And he did it. He matched Batman in the comics blow for blow. They said over their comms, it's like watching the finest artists working together to create a masterpiece. And together, Snake Eyes and Batman overcame Fortnite together through their mutual combats, of which Batman could not beat Snake Eyes. Put Batman on the resume. And to talk about Ranma, Ranma, from my research, is best known for losing the first matchup against somebody and then coming back in a later story to beat them later on in the campaigns. He lost to Picolet Chardin II, lost to Herb, Rue Common, and Pantyhose Taro. You lose to somebody named Pantyhose Taro in your first battle. You're not beating Snake Eyes in your first battle here.
All right, strong words and stronger nylons.
Pantyhose Taro!
Chan, you have 60 seconds on the clock for your third and final counterpoint starting now.
Again, this is not appropriate for this show, but if you knew the power of underwear in the Ranma universe, you would understand what's going on. Here's the thing about losing battles. Ranma only loses when there's a completely new style. My God, the number of styles in the Ranma universe. There's different martial arts for rhythm gymnastics. There's martial arts for dinner eating, for crying out loud. Yeah, you're going to lose when when those things don't exist. Your 12 styles, he's seen those before. Trust me. The thing is that Ranma is dedicated. He is dedicated. Snake Eye's job is to save the world. Every day he goes up and he saves people. Ranma's only job is to win fights. Every single day he trains. He's trained from birth to win fights. He has sacrificed his life, his gender, for crying out loud, to train for fights. That's what he does. That's how he wins.
All right, and as always, Ray has not had counterpoints throughout the show, but he does get a final thought. So, Ray, take it away.
I think that's great. I think it's great that Ranma definitely spends all their time training and learning all of those techniques, but apparently doesn't train so hard that they know all of these techniques that exist in the world and are constantly bamboozled by new ones they've never heard of. Isn't it your literal job to know the dinner-eating fighting techniques? That's all I would say. And I would argue that you're right. The 12 main martial arts perhaps have occurred already in the Ranma universe. But I'm talking about the special training only found in the Arashikage clan. Would that not constitute a new technique that Ranma, having the Arashikage not exist in their universe, being a series of techniques that character has never seen before? I think that would make a huge difference. So when hit by something unexpected, unpredicted, like Snake Eyes will bring to the table here, Ranma tends to fold, tends to learn a lesson, and then come back after having trained up to defeat that one very specific technique. Do I think if they fought in season 1 or 2 and Snake Eyes had never been seen before, that Snake Eyes would win in a first encounter? Yes. Do I think that if we continued that story along in season 5 or 6, that Ranma would have had a counter to defeat Snake Eyes later? Yeah, I do think so. But this is a neutral location in a battle where they do not know each other. And I think that particular rule set works very well against Ranma, given their own history on their own show. Meanwhile, Snake Eyes, he doesn't have to say a whole heck of a lot. He's fighting like a mystical ninja. He's hiding in the shadows when he needs to, breaking out a sword, throwing stars, kunai, heavy strikes, light strikes, and then guns when it has to happen. I have to believe in a situation where Ranma doesn't see it coming, that's going to be overwhelming and too much to win in a first encounter.
All right, guys, there's a lot to think about here. Is the Arashikugi, all that whatever stuff Ray made up?
Sam, you're killing me.
Arashikugi is correct.
Arashikugi. Arashikugel. I love me some Kugel. I'm going to get some Rashi, some Kuki, some Kugels. Yes. I'll be back. I'll do this all over again.
No, I think that's
all right, guys. No, you want to keep that? All right, I will be back with my decision after this.
Two figures met in collision. Now let's find out who would win. It's time to hear Sam's decision.
All right, guys.
Can I just say that the most amazing thing about that is not that you play that live every single time, but that Ray does the trumpet noises with his mouth. Like, that is so good. I'm impressed.
We don't talk about that on the show a lot, Chan, but I have a lot of talents.
You know what? My hat's off to you, sir.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. Also fantastic was this battle, and Chan came into this with a great knowledge of both characters. Starting off with a bag of dirty tricks, this felt like a knockout punch. But Ray's point that Ranma often fails in a match where his opponent has a never-before-seen technique was big. Is Snake Eye's secret ninja skill enough to throw Ranma off his game? When Ranma can dodge bullets, throw 40-ton boulders, and survive a fight with a dragon? I don't know. Whether it's the ear that sees, the cloak of the chameleon, the blind sword, the spaghetti flambe, the supreme pizza, the bananas Foster. Sorry, I probably should have eaten before this taping. Look, I was shocked by 2 points in this match. The first was that Timber the Wolf made it onto the battlefield completely unchallenged. Not that I think this makes or breaks the battle, but second, being that we talked more about Snake Eyes being dressed up as a lady than we talked about Ranma's curse. Though there was definitely more underwear talk in this episode than in the entire previous season of the Who Would Win Masters podcast. So I guess, Chan, you can consider that a win for you. As for this match, when Ray says that Ranma is going to fail this first encounter, I think he's bobbing for apples, and Ranma's out here bobbing for sharks. I love me some Snake Eyes, but for me, in this battle, he's already dead and doesn't even know it. I'm giving this to Chan with Ranma. Now, of course, I am only one voice in this battle. Please go to our Patreon and throw in your votes. How you feeling, Chan?
I just want to say that there is no greater joy than crushing Ray when Ray is representing his one true love. And I include his wife and family in this as well, G.I. Joe. Extra sweet.
Just twist the knife. Got it. Got it.
And I do want to say that, like, I have earned this because, as I often bring up, this was the era of clamshell videos from Anime Go that you had to special order from your comic book shop, and they were $25 a pop, which at the time was
ridiculous,
like most of a day's pay, and the entire series was like 40 tapes, and it was a significant expenditure for me at the time, but now all worth it.
Ray, you have anything you want to say?
Well, Sam Proof, I got to admit, man, I'm a little disappointed in your decision today.
It's a thing.
I feel like my arguments were watertight. I made sure
it was good.
I spent extra time preparing for this battle because I knew that this was going to be a tough battle. I knew coming in I might be a slight underdog, but you got me with a G.I. Joe character in a revenge match of sorts against Robert Clark Chan with the G.I. Joe character for something that I've been holding a grudge over for like 7 years. And yet, it didn't happen. I count on the people to go on patreon.com/whowouldwinmasters and bail me out of this one because I feel like Sam made a poor decision. I feel my arguments were again airtight. Even watertight to the point that Ranma wouldn't switch genders.
I know.
Listen,
yeah, look at that.
The iceberg that we're looking at here, the things that you brought up, like Timber dressing up, if you go and look at the number of times people dress up as wild things in Ranma 1/2, somebody, just a wolf who's part of a new wave band and a parrot who's playing keyboards in the background doesn't even crack the top 10 of weird things that go on in Ranma 1/2. So, like, you can bring all the nonsense you want. I got nonsense to the nth power.
Wow. Sam, I'm going to have to talk to you after we're done recording because according to your decisions, I am the worst debater on Knowing Is Half the Podcast.
That is not true.
And I don't know that I'm okay with that.
I'm pretty sure I voted in your favor more than 90% of the time on average.
It really feels in this case like it should have been 91%.
Wow.
But I'll let the people decide.
Alrighty.
That's the other thing, is that I can't go back to knowing and have Gina be able to lord over me that she beat you and I did not. That was just not a thing I could do and survive.
That's true.
I was truly feeling bad for that eventuality and thinking of you when we were doing the battle. Not that I would stop trying to destroy you, don't get me wrong, but I would have felt a little tinge of sadness about it afterwards.
God.
I'm very happy for you in this moment. That's all I have to say about that.
That's it. All right. Chan, do you want to tell people where they can find you online, or you just want to tell them to go away?
Listen, you know what Knowing Is Half the Podcast is. You've been there, or you will never go there, whichever is fine. But if you enjoy cartoons and tomfoolery and old stuff and new stuff and what have you, go to Knowing Is Half the Podcast. If you enjoy professional wrestling, if you're that kind of weirdo, I've got a podcast called AE Doubleback that is a AEW Dynamite recap. We talk about lots of different stuff. We have a really fun Discord if you want to join that and just I don't know, throw wrestling gifs at each other all day long. That's a thing, right? That's a thing to take our minds off the rest of the world right now for just a few minutes. Why don't we do that?
Sounds good. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us. Ray, any last words?
This is why we don't have anime characters on the show.
That's right.
Thankfully, if our audience numbers are the same, no one will hear this, and I can at least hope for that.
We had at least one season of G.I. Joe anime. Don't pretend.
Well, that's fair. That is a very fair point.
Sweep that under the rug.
Check out Sigma 6, the G.I. Joe, for 2 seasons, the anime-themed G.I. Joe. Listen to Knowing Is Half the Podcast episodes on that to get my feelings on anime. I think you already know a lot of them. That's besides the point. I thought I was going to go undefeated this entire season. I did not have on my bingo card a loss to Robert Clark Chan from Knowing Is Half the Podcast to break my streak. I was on such a good roll, too. I was feeling really good about it. The people did vote against me once, so it wasn't a flawless set of victories, but I'd like to believe the people got my back on this one. You heard my arguments. Go to patreon.com/whowouldwinmasters and right this ship, and let's keep the undefeated season going.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll be back on the wrap-up show, breaking down your votes and pulling in your comments from Discord and other social media next week. Keep the fight going over at Who Would Win Masters Discord. That's where we get your takes and really see what shapes up. Patreon's where the official poll is going to be launched, so watch for that. And you can find that at patreon.com/whowouldwinmasters. And if you think you've got what it takes to step into the challenger's chair, record a 1-minute video demo of yourself, send it to whowouldwinmasters@gmail.com. And who knows, we might see you in the challenger's chair across from Ray next time. For Who Would Win Masters, this is Sam Proof. Stay strong.